Hello and welcome to a change of events. This time, instead of a end of the year recap, I'm going to be doing a three-part series, three separate videos. The first one's going to be the longest topic, so let's just get it out of the way. If you're familiar with the channel, you know that I've talked about my personal life a lot to get into a conversation about talking about something that that's relevant towards. And if you're not new to the channel, that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to continue to basically tell my story that leads up to 2024 and how that's relevant. Um, I was in my younger years, I was bullied relentlessly. I was bullied all through elementary school to the point where I was labeled as a target. I was labeled with PTSD. I was told by, I believe, a psychiatrist, I think, that bullying was highly responsible for my ability or inability to stay focused on work and stuff like that because it's affected my mental health like so severely. I had to drop out of immersion and go down to core. And in terms of what the school did, basically, anytime I would just take the hits, literally. The worst that I got was probably a busted lip and a concussion. Um, and my mom fought towards whenever the school said like, "Whoa, we're not liable for this disability." It's like, yeah, you are. With all that nonsense, regarding principles, the worst year of my life was grade 8. I was constantly bullied, and then when I started fighting back, I risked almost getting expelled. So many different countless events that in that time of bullying, it created major trust issues for me to go into high school, and that brought me into high school where at one point I was so depressed, and that was when I experienced depression for the first time, to the point where I actually considered taking my life. And in this moment of time, with regarding trust and all that, um, I would say that I had friends. I had people that, or at least people pretend to be my friend because they know they would get stuff out of me. And I also kind of did the same for them, but not for the same reason. It was just for the sake of company. Like I would literally uh, buy people lunch just so they could hang out with me, just because I had that low self esteem. And people also wonder why when I was getting hassled in the hallway, when people would yell at me and call out my name at one point, people would wonder why don't you respond back to them? And I just didn't say anything. And I could just give them the lecture. It was like, well, hey, when I talked about in class when I almost got expelled and I was a target by people and all that. Yeah, I tell them. I tell the class, and um, then to find out that some of them were associated with those people that did that to me, it's it created a lot of problems for me. And really, it wasn't until grade 11 that I actually felt like I started having friends, and I was in a huge, massive group of people. Um, I was close to the person that was kind of I guess you could say the leader of the group. Um, and I talked to them about about this whole situation about me being depressed and all that. But when it came to that point where I actually felt like I had no one to talk to, there was something in me that struck this urge to talk to this one specific person about it. I didn't know this person didn't know me. We had acquaintances, or their friends were I would say maybe acquaintances with me, but other than that, there was no real connection. And At that one point where I did think about considering taking my life, I told this person, and this person talked me out of it. And going down, like after this, giving that chance, you have that chance to live, you got to make up for it. I was looking, whenever you go through that, you need to feel, or you feel that you find the next thing that's like the desire to live. And my desire to live was to help people that struggle with the same thing as me, their own struggles, been bullied and whatever. That then the pandemic happened. But after that, when you're young and you have a moment like that, and especially that when that person doesn't want to talk to you, even though they did that the right thing, it weighs on you. And I had a lot of guilt about that whole situation for a very long time. I went through different phases of blaming the person, trying to talk to the person, talking to people to try to talk to that person, because I just felt consistently guilty about that. And even though they said, it's all right, it's not your fault and all that, I still had that. I still felt that. And then that takes us into the pandemic, and then the pandemic happened. And before the pandemic, actually, I there was something that I was like, I was so messed up about that situation that I didn't know if I was looking for a friend or looking for a girlfriend. And I found this person that I thought was special at the time. And I didn't know, I never been in a relationship. I never seeked out one. I've had people like me, but people afraid to talk to me about it. And I just like tried to get into talking to this specific person. And I thought it was a mutual feeling at first, and it wasn't. And then there was even like a whole other thing that kind of changed things, where like it wasn't going to happen. That I still considered this person to be my a good friend in the case of, but not in the case of I trust this person. It's just kind of having this one person, and even telling them like on the first date of all this stuff that's happened, which is something you shouldn't do. And them accepting it, and that bullshit line, oh, if you ever feel the need to talk to someone, I'm here. And I, at the same time that this was going on, the people that I trusted the most were people online, people that I've been friends with for maybe about 2 to 3 years, that I met on PlayStation. I never, again, it all goes back to those trust issues with elementary school and getting bullied, that I never felt that I could trust the people, that I would go to high school with, that they were nice to me and I were nice to them, but I never felt that I could actually tell them these things that were happening, tell them these things that were going on. And when I did, they just like, oh, well, you gotta leave that person alone. Just forget about it. And when you're a teenager, you're kind of rebellious, even for someone that's like more follows the rules and straightforward. I would always go against their words. And but I would listen to the people that that didn't know me in real life, and I didn't know them in real life. And that became even more of a problem in the next year, because to be, I kept seeking random people to basically use and abuse me. And that entered, that like only lasted about maybe a year and a half. And then after that, it wasn't like, and it wasn't something that I was into at all. It wasn't something that I liked. It was just like, oh, I feel like I can trust this person. I could tell this person all this stuff that happens. And then they continue to do the exact same thing that those people have done. And that's like where I kind of started thinking about the actual online safety side of things. And it just eventually I kind of grew out of that, and good things happened where I wasn't able to go back to that. And then that kind of put me into college, where that started a whole other thing. Again, concerning with the pandemic, my first year was online, and it was a very different. There were different experiences. The first year and the second year, being online, talking to these people, working with these people, and then going in and seeing them in person, and basically kind of doing the same thing. But then you actually like kind of start to see like who's your friend and whatever. We had in college study night. We had like I think 6 people, and I knew people that I knew like who to trust, and I felt like I could trust. And the one thing that I kept saying to myself is like, this is the life that I wanted in high school, but now I actually get to have it in college for a bit. Um, Even with all that, even with the people being nice and all that, nothing could prepare me for when I was almost done college. In the second year, took a core, or yeah, we had to take this class that was centered around counseling, and considering that at this point in college, I was like ready to, um, I was ready to put myself out there. I was ready to be a part of the conversation in class. My friend group that I kind of grew into with orientation, they helped me, as cheesy as it sounds, become the person that I always wanted to be. And then someone that I had no idea who I had no idea who they were. They were kind of friends with people that I was friends with, but that did not last long, because whenever I volunteered to be a part of a demonstration, um, twice I volunteered to be a part of this demonstration, where I played the role as a client and someone played the role as a counselor. The first time it was my very, very, very dear friend, and the first time we did this demonstration, I talked about the story about high school, about contemplating taking my life, and again, no one in this course knew about this whole situation, but I managed to talk about it in a way that didn't sound concerning, and because I was encouraged to be authentic, tell a real story. Well, I fucking did. And someone decided to take advantage the next time I would do this demonstration, where my professor was playing the role of the counselor and I was playing the role as the client, to record the whole thing. It was a different story. It was more aligned with like this failed relationship that I was going through at the time. But regardless, this person that did this knew about that story. They knew about how vulnerable I could be to share that type of information. And not only that, but also the other information that I shared in class before, like whenever my mom refused to sign a thing from the school saying that like the school wasn't responsible for my disability, that they had that valuable information, and they still decided to record the whole thing and post it online. And this was where I this is where my brain couldn't comprehend everything that was going on, because I felt I've done this before. I've done this twice. I've done this through elementary school, from basically grade, I'd say 1 to grade 8. And then I went through this where, even though no one did anything wrong, I felt that way from grade 10 to grade 12. And then, but more specifically, in terms of the online stuff, I felt like that through all through grade 12. And to then be in the same vein, like this, like a schooling environment, for someone to do that, but there's no ill intent. They did it because they didn't care. They didn't do it because they wanted to hurt me. And that's like the first worst of it. The second worst of it is to face the reality is that the college isn't going to do anything about it. The dean responsible at the time didn't care. They said that, well, you know, it wasn't a targeted attack, so the person can still stay in the program. And then it was up for me to determine the punishment, and they wouldn't even go through with that, which is to let their field placement know that they decided to break confidentiality in class. The college wasn't going to be, the college didn't want to look bad, obviously. And the only thing that I could think about at the time was I just wanted to get through college. And even though professionals in the field and coworkers and whatever decide to tell me that you gotta fight for this, this is like, it'd be ridiculous to let this go by. But even more ridiculous is the fact that this happened about 4 times within the program. And the professors already knew about this situation. No one's willing to do anything about it. And even though I had that moment of time where I felt like this is it. I'm ready to finally be the person that I want to be. And then this situation happens, and then it's like I hate myself again. I don't want to be near anyone. I want to just stay at home, stay alone, and I don't trust anyone. And then that went away for a bit, and then that brings us to 2024. 2023 sucked because this happened in 2020, or this happened in 2022. 2023 sucked because even though all that happened, I got my job. That person had to graduate with me, which also didn't make things any easier than it was. But the thing that really irritated me was that with all that online stuff that I put myself through from 2020 going into 2021, and I thought I had online friends. My Instagram followers were like about I think 150, and then I had people from high school, and then I had people that I didn't even know from online. Whenever I decided to post about the entire situation that happened, no one was willing to message me about it. Outside of like other people that I've talked with in the past, like no one cared. Even people that have, people know me, people know my backstory, people knew what happened to me in the past. No one was willing to message me about it. And I said that I would like to talk to someone about it, but no one was willing to do it. So it was then that all that trust and everything that I've struggled with, I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to delete my Instagram. Start a new one. And I said, for the people that I actually trust, I said, if you want to follow me on my new account, here's my new account. We could talk there. And I think there was like maybe 7. About maybe 7 people. At the time, this all goes back to that one person before the pandemic that I met. At the time, I made that other account. I waited, because even like maybe 2-3 days, someone decided to send me a follow request, but I waited a good portion of time. And I waited for that specific person to follow me back. And I got to the point where it's like, you know what? This person doesn't care. And then there was this random day that I was depressed, house sitting for my dad, and I got the notification that that person decided to follow me back, and I was like that just completely just that made my year. That entire interaction made my year. Because for a long period of time, I've been focusing on what is it? What am I hanging on to? Am I hanging on to high school? Am I hanging on to the memories? Am I hanging on to that self that is dead? I would like to know what I was so caught up, what all the dreams and nightmares and everything means, why high school and school tend to uh, correlate with each other in dreams, and the different people that it try to make sense of everything that is my brain is trying to communicate with me, and I couldn't do it. And it wasn't until I had, and even when I had an interaction with my sister where it's like, you can't be upset with this person. So what it ended up happening was sometimes this person would go dark, and even to the point where they would go missing. And I was just thinking, like, it is my fault for not putting myself out there and not messaging this person. But even when I decided to do that, it's like they don't care, they didn't want it. So what was the point of caring about that? And then when I had that interaction with my sister, and she said that you can't you can't continue to hang on to the memories that are gone. You can't continue to do that. And I thought that that's what it was. But no, that's not what it was. What it's been this entire time, didn't matter what it was, from if it was in high school, if I was in college, if I was hung up about I thinking about that I was hung up about a person, it was never about that. It was that the only time, or regarding schooling has been nothing but suffering to me. And I try my hardest to think about the times that I wasn't suffering in those times. But it's everything just overshadows it all. Um, the one thing that I left out is that regarding trust and everything, a savior of 2023, 2023, 2022, 2023. The savior of 2023 was graduation. And it had nothing to do with being with my friends. It had nothing to do with like our conversations. It had nothing to do with my family all being together to see me graduate college. What it had to do was that I saw a person that had always been good to me through elementary school, and we were very good friends like in our younger years, considering that our parents know each other. And this person has been nothing but great to me. And to see that person, and I thought, with all the decisions that I've made, I'm going to make the right decision. And I'm going to talk to this person. And they didn't even think, they saw me, but they thought that I didn't even know that I would have forgot who they were. And I approached them and I talked to them, and I tried to I just wanted to continue talking to this person, because this person, in all that time of suffering and all that hell that I've been through for the past couple years, actually longer than that, for the past, I don't know, 2009, basically since 2009, I wanted to make them, even though they're graduating and they're already going through a big moment in their life, I wanted to tell them that they meant a lot to me. And it was weird, because even though we went to the same high school, we never really talked with each other. I was friends with their friends, but I don't think we ever even had an interaction through high school. But to talk with them again, it just felt like it felt so natural, and I think they were realizing that too. That all that stuff didn't matter for once. It was the sense of familiarity, and I realized that I finally, like, I know that this is someone that I can trust this person. I don't, like, I can't think of any other word because other words just carry too much more weight, but I knew that I could trust this person, and I felt like this person could trust me. And later down the line, where even after that interaction, we didn't talk much, but then I decided to contact them on Messenger because I also forgot that we were friends on Messenger, but again, we never talked to each other. Um, and they were surprised at first, but explaining to them, like, I just kept thinking about that interaction and how, with all that hell that I've been through, and even that, um, you know, they were so kind to me, and I was so kind to them, no matter how hard it was for us in that time. And finally getting to that point, I thought back to the other thing where it's like, yeah, I was so mad at that person, that other person, but why? There was no reason to be. Yeah, it was nice to have that interaction, but after that person left, there was nothing good about high school except for the memories I had in grade 9. Grade 10 and after that is just hell. Outside, or in high school. Outside of that, I've had some good times. I met some good people online that I still friends with to this day, and I have those meaningful interactions with still, but it sucks because that childhood, that sense of youth is gone. And I tried to tie all that in, like, with my Life is Strange video, because at the end of the day, that with all that stuff, that's what I tend to now I completely understand why a lot of people like Chloe as a character, because all this time I've been doing the same thing. I've been living with that sense of stuck in that living with that sense of nostalgia, but not in the same way exactly. Like, it's just that I wanted that sense of youth that made me happy, and a lot of that sense of youth is dead to me because it's just nothing but suffering. And to get to find that light at the end of the tunnel, and still have that light at the end of the tunnel, I realized that um, a lot of I wasted a lot of time on an idea that didn't matter, but it took me so long to come to that realization that I genuinely feel sorry for the people that had to put up with the bullshit that I put them through from all those years. And going into this new year with everything, I hate to like make this kind of an advertisement now, but if you wanted to expecting my music's to come this year, the first album is about that high school hell. The second album is about basically the past trauma from elementary school going into what happened in college. And that's those are the first two albums. Now, it gets so much more wilder than this. because we're not done. But then that brings us to the other personal side of things, which is the fact that I've had a very bad relationship with my father for a very long time. I don't know how long exactly, but I would say probably 2012 and forwards up until 2024. In 2024, his girlfriend, after 10 years, broke up with him. And I realized that all this time, I mean, I'm not gonna like blame everything on her, but I would say that all this time, the main reasons why, most of the main reasons why I hated him was because of the person he became because of her. And realizing that, I think he now realizes, not all, but at least the shit that he pulled when he was with her and why people heavily disliked him, that he is either really good at pretending to be the person that everybody wants him to be, or he's genuinely trying to be the better person now. And with all that trust and all that bullshit, now, like, he's actually, when he was with her, and actually, well, even before that, basically for all my life that I've known him, ever since he's left, he has never really displayed the fact that he wanted to spend time with his children unless there's no other thing to like distract him. Like if he's lonely, he'll want to talk or hang out with his kids, but other than that, like, that it was so weird this year getting a phone call telling me about relationship advice, even though that I'm not, like, there's nothing to, I don't know how, but there's just nothing to like give him any sort of notion that I'm looking for someone. And even more, that is when he invites us, not just me, not just inviting me on a Christmas Eve like he used to, but inviting my sister and I and my mom to spend time with him on Christmas Day, that it almost felt like we were in a completely different universe. It was so mind-numbingly weird and awkward that I started thinking, well, shit. That was that one, I already covered that other bit that I feel like I understand now. Well, here's a whole other thing to unravel. How do I forgive him? I already made my third album, and my third album is dedicated to basically hating myself because of him. Hating myself because he's the person that had a very negative effect on my life. Hating him because of the shit that he's done to my family. But then also, you know, hating his girlfriend. And I start to think about, I've mentioned this on my channel before, outside of specific things, I don't normally unlist my videos unless it's for, the main reason is because I don't want traction, because it's either a dead topic or it's just like drama related stuff regarding other creators and whatever. That'll get unlisted. Or if I really come off bad, or if I really like, I don't know, if I just like make something that I don't know what I'm talking about, yeah, I'll unlist it. But I start to think, you know, I do keep a lot of my stuff for personal reflection, and I'm been struggling with if I should even release the album. it's I'm releasing 3 albums all at once, and you know they all cover the what I've talked about. They're not very good. They're like in terms of recording, it's very raw acoustic guitar, banjo, ukulele focused. That um, it might be like kind of hard to listen to, but I've been thinking about like, do I give them that chance? That's been the big thing. And here we're already in 2025. I'm thinking that he did it, so why not? But a part of me does, as long as I continue to remember that I'm past that point now. I don't have those feelings. I feel like I've grown. I think he has. That I think it's time to give him that chance. And well, I just have to wait and see. Um, I knew that this was going to be a very personal, kind of hard to talk about video, but that's like the most difficult subject video. That now that that's out of the way, the other two are going to be shorter. They're going to be straightforward, and they're not going to be depressing like this. But I'm so glad that I could finally make this and just be completely honest. I feel like it's kind of become a meme now, where everybody just puts a video of themselves being completely honest and real about these conversations. But no, like, this is 2024 really shaped the word trust, what it means to trust someone. And have I lost trust? I've been thinking about it for a bit now, and I think it's new year, new me. And I have plans to hopefully kind of, even though like I had plans to rectify what I did, but I feel like I'm already doing it. There's no need to go back and dig up the past, because there's just, what is the point? And that's kind of one of the main reasons why I don't write personal music anymore, because, or well, in terms of writing personal music, that's kind of the reason why I don't want to record and put out personal music after Sad Day for Skydiving, because I don't have those feelings anymore. And yeah, it's easy to write a song about those things, but like, I feel there's other ways of communicating that stuff. If you've had situations like this, it's better to talk to someone instead of just, zoning out to a song that makes you feel like you're understood. Despite me listening and making music that has that feel and vibe to it, I would rather someone get professional help instead of ignoring those signs. And that's coming from someone that, if I had the means to, I would. But until then, you're just going to have to put up with these personal reflection types of conversations from me. And yeah, that's all. 40 minutes, but it's well deserved. I'm not wasting your time. And with this, there's no outro. Peace.